Undoubtedly, no human on earth had such a close walk with God as Moses did, not even David, the man after God's heart. Moses was born into a society where his breath as an Israelite male child was seen as disobedience. He emerged from the Nile River, was saved from imminent death by his family, and rose from a prince to a shepherd who subsequently became a prophet, defying an empire, leading a country, and becoming the conduit for the divine law that has altered civilizations. Moses' story is a tale of liberation, legality, and unfathomable mysteries, defining his extraordinary life and departure from this world. In today's video, we will uncover mysteries regarding what happened to Moses. Where was he buried? And most shockingly, why was Moses' body so important to Satan that he would wrestle with an archangel for it? Stay with me till the very end as we unravel this hidden truth regarding this biblical prophet. Moses was a unique prophet who lived in the 14th-13th centuries BCE and was recognized as the prophet of God. He was regarded as the greatest prophet and teacher in Jewish tradition. According to the book of Exodus, he was born in Egypt to Hebrew parents who sailed him down the Nile in a reed basket to avoid the death penalty for all newborn Hebrew boys. He was raised as Pharaoh's daughter in Egypt. He escaped to Midian after slaying a harsh Egyptian taskmaster, where God showed himself in a burning bush and summoned Moses to free the Israelites from Egypt. Moses appealed to Pharaoh for aid, assisted by his brother Aaron for Israel's release. After God visited Egypt with a series of plagues, the Pharaoh allowed them to go but then sent his army after them. God then split the Red Sea to allow the Israelites to pass, and then drowned the Egyptians who pursued them. God forged a covenant with the Israelites on Mount Sinai, and gave the 10 Commandments to Moses, who led his people through 40 years of desert wandering until they reached the border of Canaan. Moses' life was cut short, owing to his failure to obey God in the desert. As a result, God informed Moses that he would not be permitted to enter the Promised Land. So, when it was time for the Jews to return to the Promised Land, God took Moses' life and buried him in Moab. Deuteronomy 34:4-7 NLT. Then the Lord said to Moses, "This is the land I promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, when I said, I will give it to your descendants. I have now allowed you to see it with your own eyes, but you will not enter the land." So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, just as the Lord had said. The Lord buried him in a valley near Beth Peor in Moab, but to this day no one knows the exact place. Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyesight was clear, and he was as strong as ever. God took care of Moses in his dying moments, a witness to their particular bond. But the most remarkable aspect is the burial, with no monument, grand tomb, or shrine to visit in a way matching the humility Moses frequently demonstrated. God has kept his last resting place a secret. No man has touched it. This remains one of the greatest unanswered Bible mysteries. To fully understand what happened to Moses' body, it is necessary to consider the book of Jude, as it offers a much clearer picture. There was a disagreement about Moses' corpse. This conflict was between the angel of death, Satan, and Archangel Michael. Jude 1:9 NLT. But even Michael, one of the mightiest of the angels, did not dare accuse the devil of blasphemy, but simply said, "The Lord rebuke you." This took place when Michael was arguing with the devil about Moses' body. Following Moses' death, a disagreement emerged over his body. He reminded Satan that it is not our place to determine or judge, but God's, and that the fate of Moses' body, like all things, rested in the hands of the Lord. Moses' life teaches us many things, including faith, persistence, and patience. His death teaches us that even the best among us are ultimately in God's hands, and sometimes the mysteries he leaves behind are the most profound teachings of all. Here comes one of the most intriguing parts of this story. Why did the devil battle Archangel Michael over Moses' body? This subject has been disputed by Bible academics for many years. It is worth noting that the Bible does not provide explanations for Satan's behavior. Even though there have been a few biblical ideas, let us look at some of those theories and their veracity. Satan vehemently contested for the possession of Moses' body, persistently attempting to engage Michael in a dispute regarding the perceived injustice of God's law. With deceptive persistence, Satan reiterated false accusations, asserting unfair treatment. Michael, however, refrained from responding with a recount of Satan's malicious actions in heaven, the lies told in Eden that led to Adam's fall, and the manipulation of the Israelites to rebel against Moses. This is the ultimate example of how Christians should deal with Satan and demons. The example of Michael refusing to curse his Satan should teach Christians how to interact with demonic powers. Believers should not address them, but rather seek the Lord's intervention against them. If such a mighty angel of God, Michael, depended on God to deal with Satan, don't you think we should do the same too? When we face demons, we should never depend on our might. Now let's continue. In the face of Satan's accusations, Michael did not retaliate or level accusations against him. Instead, God demonstrated his power by raising Moses from the dead and bringing him to heaven. This marked the first instance since creation that God's power being employed to overcome Satan and breathe life into the lifeless. Through this act it is affirmed that he was the resurrection and the life, with the ability to redeem those captured by Satan. Despite mortal death, he testified that individuals would experience life beyond the grave, answering the long-standing question, if a man die, shall he live again? Job 14:14. This act represented a monumental triumph over the forces of darkness, offering undeniable evidence of the supremacy of God. Satan had not anticipated the resurrection of the body after death, believing that the decree, "Dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return," granted him unchallenged dominion over the deceased. Now, however, Satan witnessed the foiling of his scheme, as mortals were destined to live again after death. Satan did not like to see that happen, and hence he fought with all his might, but he was defeated. Matthew 17:2-4, NLT. As the men watched, Jesus' appearance was transformed, so that his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light. Suddenly Moses and Elijah appeared and began talking with Jesus. Peter exclaimed, "Lord, it's wonderful for us to be here. If you want, I'll make 3 shelters as memorials, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." One of the most difficult issues Jesus had with the Pharisees was their love of Moses' law, rather than using the law to bring them to their need for a savior. Perhaps Satan intended Moses' corpse to be available to the people to persuade them to worship Moses' bones rather than God. As a result, God concealed his body from all men, even Satan. This was undoubtedly an excellent tactic, as we can see from the golden calf, X 32:4-6, NLT 4. Then Aaron took the gold, melted it down, and molded it into the shape of a calf. When the people saw it, they exclaimed, "O Israel, these are the gods who brought you out of the land of Egypt." 5. Aaron saw how excited the people were, so he built an altar in front of the calf. Then he announced, "Tomorrow will be a festival to the Lord." 6. The people got up early the next morning to sacrifice burnt offerings and peace offerings. After this, they celebrated with feasting and drinking, and they indulged in pagan revelry. God was well aware that the Israelites were prone to worshiping false gods. Such activities are common throughout their history. If Satan could take control of Moses' body and turn it into something that the Israelites would later discover, the consequences for the country would be catastrophic. Let us never forget that Moses had tremendous faith, enormous courage, and confidence in God throughout his life, allowing him to form a stronger bond with God. This made him, even after death, immensely significant not just to God, but also to his fellow men. Let us aim to have such a close relationship with God as Moses did. This narrative serves as a possible reminder of the spiritual warfare that occurred. Beyond human vision, the narrative emphasizes the necessity of faith in God's sovereignty and the need to be cautious against the enemy's weapons. Given the possibilities listed in this video, which do you believe is the true reason Satan desired Moses' body? Drop your ideas and opinions in the comments area. If this video has blessed you, we would like to hear from you. Please share your testimonies of how God answered your prayers. Please click the subscribe buttons. By doing this, you help our ministry reach more people. Remember to activate the notification bell so you may be informed when we upload new videos. Thank you for watching. God bless you. See you in the next videos.